Hello and welcome to Tabletop Odyssey. My name is Jay and I'm going to be talking about the slight issue in X-Wing where there are some upgrades that a faction can use but currently has no access to that upgrade without buying another faction's box. Now, we were told when 2.0 was in its promo stage before the game was released, but it had been revealed that you wouldn't have to do this anymore. And in fairness, in 99.999% of the cases, you can pretty much just buy your conversion kit and the ships you want, and you pretty much have everything, minus a few exceptions. Darth Maul, I think, is an exception, but definitely the Moldy Crow crew card only comes with the Rebel conversion kit, but it's quite common to see in a Scum and Villainy list. So that is a problem. I think everybody agrees that that is a problem. Is it a massive problem? Yes and no. If you're a player who needs to get that card, then yes, it's a massive problem for you. Is it a long-term problem? Were we misled? The answer is probably no in those cases, but I'm just sort of making this video to question how are they going to fix it. Two things. First, I'm a little bit unwell, so my voice sounds weird. Secondly, if you're not already subscribed, then do consider subscribing. It really does help. The reason, how are they going to fix it? This is sort of my problem with upgrades going forward. Now that we're going to be having 7 factions, yes, of course. You know, the Moldy Crow crew card needs to get added to the Scum and Villainy ship at some point, preferably soon. The next ship, for my liking, should include it. We need to see that get tidied off so you can literally buy the one faction that you want. That should happen, and I hope that will happen quickly. I think, you know, there's been so many upgrade cards and so much confusion probably about like what upgrade cards are going where and when, that I think it's understandable that some essentially have been missed. Not a huge issue as long as it gets corrected, you know, in my opinion, but some people might rightly complain about that, especially if you are a player who you really want Moldy Crow and you can't get it unless you buy that. Then yeah, I understand that completely. But I think more importantly will be how it's dealt with going forward with these 7 factions. If you have you know, a new a Clone Wars faction, and they get a card, and this was sort of inspired by the Resistance and the First Order. You get a card in there, in one of those boxes, which is actually usable for other factions, but it's possibly not usable for the ship that is getting released at the same kind of time for, say, First Order. Now, well, are they gonna put that upgrade in that ship even though it doesn't make any sense, or are they gonna just wait till the ship comes around that does make sense? But if this upgrade is actually a super competitive card and it's usable, and people are going to want it, so they're going to buy the ship they don't need, and that would cause a problem. It's a little bit speculative because we've not seen the outcome of this yet. However, we have seen that there are at the minute cards that you can't use in your specific chosen faction unless you buy somebody else's faction. Not many, but it exists, and that core reason there, that as a sentiment and a statement, is actually why I never played X-Wing 1.0. I bought X-Wing 1.0, I bought the core sets, I played it with Katie a couple of times, we did videos and stuff like that, but I remember it very clearly in my head, I wanted to fly Darth Vader. It's Darth Vader, innit, bro? I wanted to fly him. And I came to it and it was like I had to buy, I don't remember the exact upgrades, so I don't remember it that clearly, but I wanted to fly the best Darth Vader I could find. People recommended to fly this, and I think it was like advanced targeting computer, and it was on a really expensive ship, and I was like, I really don't want that really expensive ship, I just want a good Darth Vader, and I can't fly a good Darth Vader without buying that expensive ship. And I was like, killed it for me like straight off, just because if I can't get behind a sales model of a game, I can't get behind that game. There's been it's one of the reasons I don't play like trading card games, like the collectible kind. I don't like the sales model, and if I don't like the sales model, I'll just stop. It doesn't matter how good the game is. It's just that important to me. I think partly because I want to be able to recommend the games, and I want them to be like fair and reasonable for consumers. So I stopped X-Wing 1 because of this reason. If it got drastically worse in X-Wing 2.0, I would stop. I would flat out stop, but I don't think it's going to get that bad. But it's important, I think, that, you know, they made a thing, as far as I can tell. I can't actually Google it and find a proper resource for this, but we were sort of told or it was implied that we would be able to buy one faction and just have everything. It's not 100% true. There's no doubt about that. It's not 100% true. There are a few edge case exceptions, and they should be fixed as soon as possible. For sure, I think they should be fixed as soon as possible. And I can see where, as I said, I understand. I think like they've released, what is it now, 5 conversion kits. It makes sense that, you know, we didn't necessarily know what was going here was going to get used over here and so forth and so on. But these handful of cards should now be rectified in preferably the next ship that comes out for those factions. And I sort of want to see it, and it'll get to a point where I'll need to see it for my own like sanity. But it's going to get complicated when you've got 7 factions with 7 different kinds of upgrades. Let's say, I don't know too much about upgrades, you know, I just sort of go on a list builder, but let's say there's an illicit upgrade, but maybe a faction can't take an illicit upgrade, or more, they probably can, but you know what I mean, just bear with me. But one faction can, but another faction can, but that faction's not getting a ship yet, and it could all end up being like a complete mess of design. I think what we would need to see, because we're not going to get 7 ship waves, I can't see that happening. I can't see, I mean, we're not already getting that now, but I can't see a wave including 1 new ship for every faction. So by default here, it looks like there'll be upgrades that a faction can use but not have access to a ship, unless they're just not going to do new upgrades, or unless they do faction specific upgrades. For example, you know, if they make it a rebel only upgrade, fine, but if they make it like a crew upgrade that's useful for all the other factions, but not all the other factions have a ship that's just been released in that wave, then you're going to have 2-3 months maybe where that other faction can't use that ship, which isn't a problem if 2 things are met. Either that card isn't competitive. Now, competitive is subjective. The list you want to run might be different from the list I want to run, but if these cards are intrinsically like overpointed, then people aren't going to be as bothered, and it's not going to matter so much if it comes out next wave and it's quite quick for it to be corrected. We need time to see it, so it's too early. I'm not complaining at the moment. Like, I'm not saying this is terrible, boo, FFG boo. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, for me, it's a little bit of an issue. I'm mildly concerned about it. As I said, it's the reason I didn't play X-Wing 1. And if it drastically becomes not unbalanced, but if it drastically turns out that you really need to buy several ships of other factions that I don't want to play them, to play my list the best I can play my list, then I'll be very displeased with that. And I don't think that's unreasonable. I know a lot of people who play X-Wing literally just buy everything anyway, so to you guys, it almost doesn't matter because you're going to buy it. But with 7 factions and more releases, that's possibly, I mean, unfeasible depending on how rich you are. But I think morally it's also slightly unfeasible. I think they should make it so you can fly your faction and your faction alone. That actually makes sense going forward if you're going to have such a expanded game. So it's an issue that I'm thinking about, and considering I criticise stuff like Kill Team for its tactics and stuff being in specific boxes, yeah, considering that I criticise Kill Team, I wanted to be like fair and balanced here and say I don't think it's not. They've said it's not going to be a big issue, but there is evidence that shows it is still a slight issue. And I would like to see it corrected as soon as possible. That's all I'm saying. That's all this video is. Let me know your thoughts. Is it something are you affected by this? Do you want to run like Moldy Crow everywhere and you in the Scum faction, but you don't want to buy your rebels? Most like casual people probably aren't affected, but I guess there's some. Are you like a competitive player and it really is peeing you off, or you're not really bothered? Yeah, let me know. So that's it. Those are my thoughts. I think. It's going to be. I think the conversion kit issue with certain cards will get fixed in the next couple of waves, but I think fixing the waves is going to be a problem because I don't think they're going to release 7 ships per wave. So I think like when new upgrades come out, you're going to have a bit of an issue. But the people at FFG are probably infinitely smarter than I am, and I'm sure they'll come up with something. But yeah, so right, if you want to chat to me, Discord, Facebook, fantastic. If you want to support me on Patreon, that would really help. I would really appreciate anybody who supports me there. You know, it's an expensive hobby, and I want to buy loads of stuff and play loads of stuff and show you guys loads of stuff, and I very much appreciate your support there. Other than that, like and subscribe. Have a most beautiful day, and goodbye. Bye, guys.